What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Fit Couch. Today, we're going to talk about the 5 biggest fitness myths, well, according to ChatGPT. I ChatGPT'd the 5 biggest fitness myths on the internet, and I actually like these. These are actually good ones to talk about. So, thank God for AI these days, just making life easier.
Yeah, a little too easy.
Yeah, a little too easy. When I read these, I thought, yeah, these are pretty good ones. These are probably the first 5 I would talk about. And although there's plenty of them, with the growing age of social media, there's always people trying to find a reason why you need to buy their product or invest in their program, or why their approach to nutrition is groundbreaking and the new renaissance of XYZ.
For sure.
But yeah, there's these 5. I really like these 5, so I'm glad we're going to go over these. ChatGPT did good.
Yeah, I browsed through it a little bit, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we'll go through them one by one, and the first one, right here, we'll talk about spot reduction, targeted fat loss.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So what does that mean? This is something that I still get, and this is a myth that I thought everyone knew isn't real.
Yeah.
But I still get it constantly, and I'm sure you probably hear it too, right?
Yeah.
What are your goals? I want to lose fat from here. I want to get rid of this fat, or I want to get rid of the belly fat.
Tone that area.
Yeah, I want to tone this area. I want
Yeah.
to get rid of my belly fat here or there. But the reality is your body burns fat evenly from everywhere in your body, and wherever you genetically store more fat is where you're going to notice it come off the lap, like at the end, right?
Yeah.
If you tend to store more fat in your stomach, that's going to be the place that loses. You
Takes
get
the
the
most
leanest.
time,
Yeah,
probably.
exactly. It's going to take the most time to really see it get lean. As far as fat reduction goes, it's pretty simple. We have to burn more calories than we're consuming, and our body's going to have to burn that fat evenly from everywhere.
Yeah.
If it was as easy as like, oh, I want to burn fat from my legs, or I want to burn fat from my stomach, I wish it was that easy, right?
Yeah, I would have kept the fat on my arms, keep them as big as possible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I want to keep the fat on my
That's
arms.
my wish.
Yeah, I know. You get this a lot. I know in the gym you hear this a lot.
Yeah. The other thing that kind of reminded me of something similar to that is kind of gaining muscle or strength in a certain area by like burning it off, like abs. You want to work on the abs to burn off that fat.
Yeah, I know.
That's the most common one for me.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I know. And it's funny when you think about it. It makes no sense because it's I don't want to work my arms because I don't want them to get too big, but I want to work my abs because I want them to get smaller.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Wait a minute. Wait, what? So if working your abs makes them smaller,
it's another muscle.
It's another muscle, so it might actually grow and make your waist look bigger.
Wider too.
Wider, yeah, exactly. So,
yeah.
But that actually comes to another myth we'll talk about.
Oh, okay.
It's on the list, but yeah,
That
is. You can't pick a spot on your body and burn fat from one spot. Wherever you genetically store it, some people tend to store more, like a lot of women tend to store a lot more fat in their hips and their legs. Men tend to store a lot more fat around their midsection.
Yeah.
I mean, genetics are your genetics. Where you store fat's where you store it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, if you store it in your stomach, that's going to be the last place that gets shredded when you're dieting, right?
It is what it is.
It is what it is, yeah. So, again, I thought this myth was dispelled a long time ago to the general public, but quite often I'm surprised at how out of touch a lot of people are with some of these things.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because if you look through social media, you're going to hear anything that confirms what you want, right? You're going to find, oh, here's 6 weeks to my 6-week to shredded abs program.
Yeah.
And you look at it and it's nothing to do with diet. It's everything to do with like ab workouts.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you're not going to get shredded abs from doing this ab workout. You're going to build the muscles underneath the fat. And if anything, if you don't change your diet, if anything, your waist might look bigger.
And I think, honestly, if it's like body weight type of ab exercise, you're not even really doing anything, because maybe in the beginning, you'll see some improvements with your abs.
Yeah.
Like gaining muscle in the abs, but if you're not progressive overloading, you're not really doing anything.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to overload to continue to see progress, but doing 100 reps of abs, I mean, yeah, it's great, and our core needs to be strong, but we can build core strength from doing deadlifts, bent over rows, squats. I mean, you're going to build pull-ups.
Yeah.
You're going to build a lot of core strength
Yeah.
that's functional for daily life.
Exactly,
that
functional.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that a lot too when they say they want to do functional, like strength movements or functional movements.
Yeah.
It's really all those are all functional, which they don't think.
Yeah, that was a kick in like the early 2000s. It was a whole like functional training.
Yeah.
But it's such a weird word. Like no one's really can define that. Like functional for what?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I would
It's
see.
like the
I
same.
would see.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's like the same thing when they say they want to work on their like, what is it? Stabilizing muscles. You know, they're like, I want to work on my stabilizing muscles. Or
yeah, my
or they're-
stabilizers. Okay,
Yeah.
what do you mean by that?
Yeah, exactly. It's like
in
the same
what
thing.
context? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, the functional training. You know, oh, we're doing functional training here, and then you'd see someone doing like a lunge with a rotation on a Bosu ball with weight in one hand. It's like, what the hell? Functional for what? Like, what the hell are you doing in real life? Are you lunging during an earthquake? Like trying to
when an earthquake happens, like, hold on, I'm ready for this.
Yeah,
We gotta
yeah.
do something
I
like
can
that.
balance on a Bosu ball with a lunge with the weight in my hand, and I'm doing this rotation, and like, okay, that looks kind of cool, and I guess it's catchy for social media, but I don't see how that's functional either. So, to me, functional would mean more like sports specific. You know, if you have a sport or an athletic event, you're going to want to train things that are going to help you with that. Or, but other things, deadlifts, those are very functional. We're picking things up off the ground all the time. We squat all the time. These are movements that when we hinge at the hips or we squat or we press overhead, these are all very functional movements. There are strength that carries over to other things we're going to do in life.
You know, teach you how to brace properly.
Yeah,
as
exactly.
well.
And that's when you're going to get good core strength.
Yeah.
Right, but yeah, we kind of went on a tangent there. But myth one, spot reduction, fat loss, it's not a thing. Don't think that you can pick a spot on your body and just burn fat from that part. All right. So once you come to acceptance with that, then we can move forward. The second one that this one kills me, and I think we talked about it in the last episode a little bit, is lifting weights makes women bulky.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to lift weights. I don't want to get too bulky. But they're the same women who want to train abs to make their waist smaller.
Yeah.
Right,
I want to
so-
lose a couple inches down.
Yeah, I want to lose
Down
some
the
inches
waist.
on my waist, so I'm going to train my abs. But I don't want to gain inches in my arms, so I'm not going to train my arms. Doesn't really, that part just right there is like, wait a minute, did we think this through? But yeah, the whole weightlifting is going to make women bulky thing. This is a myth that I think is being dispelled, and a lot of people are realizing how that this is not true, because now you see a lot more women in the gym like really lifting heavy, really grinding, and it's cool to see. I mean, there's some
it's
real,
badass.
yeah, I know. There's some real strong women in the gym, and they're not looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know. So that's a super cool thing to see that mind shift is changing, and that we're not just doing jazzercise and step aerobics, but women are actually stepping outside of that, the aerobics realm, and actually lifting weights. But you know, the older generation and some people who still have that old school mindset think that weights is going to make them bulky. But here's why it's not going to happen. First of all, I've been trying to get too bulky my whole life, and I'm still
Over
trying.
bulky,
Yeah, I'm
if
trying to get
anything.
too big.
You're
I
trying to
still
get over
haven't.
bulky.
I still haven't reached that yet. So,
Yeah.
and I'm a man who trains hard, sleeps well, eats well, and has a lot of testosterone.
It's basically a monk for the weights.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Yeah, and so unless you're a woman who has super high testosterone, or you're supplementing it using PEDs, and you're eating in a calorie surplus consistently daily, and training heavy and hard for years and years and years and years and years,
Doing all the right workouts.
doing
and
all the right,
everything.
you still, it's going to be a one in a million
Yeah.
that's going to get super jacked, you know, like way too bulky. But generally, women who looks like men, it's probably because they're supplementing with male hormones.
Yeah, but even if you look in the competitions, like all the competitions that the women are, when you look at them, they don't even look really that huge.
No, I know, like
Honestly.
bikini,
Yeah.
and all of that.
Even wellness.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the waist is huge, but like the upper body is not even
Yeah, it's not that
It's like,
bulky at
geez,
all.
that's a man right there. No, not
No,
really.
and these are women who are dedicating
And taking drugs.
and they're taking steroids
Yeah.
or other PEDs, and
Yeah.
they're dedicating every minute of their day to this sport.
Mhm.
So the general person coming in lifting weights,
Mhm.
don't worry about it.
And it's genetics too. On top of that, Like,
Yeah,
they
good
have,
point.
Yeah,
Good point.
a s-
So, yeah, very good point. That most women don't have the genetic capability to get too bulky,
Mhm.
and you add that on top of lack of testosterone,
Mhm.
especially if you're getting, older in age. If you're a woman over 30, 40, 50, your ability to put on muscle is very limited.
Mhm.
So your attempt to build muscle has to be way more intentional to even see the slightest gains.
yeah, the percentage of that is super low.
Yeah,
Very
it's
low.
Very, very,
The
yeah.
possibilities of that.
And it's not like you just lift weights and then the next day you wake up jacked, right? There's a process, right? And so you ever feel like you're too swole, then just taper back on your weights. But I
Exactly.
promise you, you got a long time before that ever becomes a thing.
Maybe do a little deficit or something like that.
Yeah, you have to be eating in a calorie surplus and training hard for years and years and years and have the right sleep and all of that stuff has to be aligned with the right genetics and taking drugs. And I think that when we see like these super jacked women on social media, a lot of people don't realize that performance enhancing drugs are very prevalent
Mhm.
in the obsessive compulsive weightlifting arena.
And this is
with
also
men and
another.
women.
Yeah, this is also a little side as well. It's like that's also good lighting. They're posing. They're like contorting their body in a certain way as well to make it look
Totally.
even bigger on top of that.
Totally.
Maybe
yeah.
a little Photoshop. You don't know.
Yeah,
as
exactly.
well. So it's-
exactly.
Whatever you see online, it's never really the case.
And I mean, even look at men or young men. You go into most gyms and you look around.
Mhm.
You're going to see a very small percentage of men who are lifting heavy and trying to get super big
Mhm.
aren't getting super big, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you look at around the gym of men who have the peak testosterone levels, like in their 20s, and they're trying to get big,
Mhm.
and they're not getting too bulky. So I don't think you women have much to worry about, right?
Yeah. And even if those guys you see they're super huge, they're probably a little bit smaller, because they got less frame to fill out.
Yeah.
Like a 5'7", 5'8".
Oh yeah, shorter. Yeah, exactly.
That's
yeah.
what I noticed
Yeah.
a lot too.
Yeah.
But
There's probably a lot of psychology in that too. When you can't grow taller, you try to grow wider.
try to go wider.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So women, don't worry about getting too bulky.
Mhm.
We want to build muscle, keep your bones and your tendons strong, keep your metabolism on fire. Your body's going to process food better this way. And if you want to have any type of muscle tone or definition at all, you've got to do some strength training.
Mhm.
So if you're trying to lose weight, lose fat, you want to hold on to that muscle. Otherwise, you get that, they call it skinny fat, right? Where your body fat percentage is the same as it was when you were 20 pounds heavier,
Yeah.
but you still look sick and unathletic and you don't look like you work out, right? So keep training with weights. Don't worry about getting too bulky.
Yeah, and at some point you are going to have to train because the older generation, when they come and we talk for the very first time, it's usually because of that. Their doctors tells them they have to do weightlifting because they have like osteoporosis or something like that,
Exactly.
So at some point you are going to have to weightlift because of other things, not just looks or feels. It's also like for bone health,
Yeah.
muscle health, and everything like that.
Bone health, joint health.
Yeah. All of the
being
above,
able to
honestly.
even just being able to fall and
Yeah.
not have that be a life-changing incident. If
Mhm.
you can fall and you're strong and you have good tendon strength and joint strength and muscular strength and reaction time,
And balances as well.
yeah, all of that, right? So
Yeah.
keep training with weights. Don't worry about getting too bulky.
Mhm.
Women, it's not going to happen. Men, even for men, it's a constant struggle to get too big.
Yeah.
All right.
Everything on a BOSU ball as well is not going to improve everything as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if you're doing everything on your BOSU ball or your
Yeah.
single leg this and single leg that,
Yeah.
standing with one arm over your head. I mean, yeah, that's great, and we can challenge the core to stabilize a little bit with some asymmetrical loading, but
It's just another tool. There's plenty of other tools that you can be
yeah,
using.
yeah. Lift weights, deadlift, squat, bench, overhead press.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be with a barbell, but do some sort of exercise that causes your hips to hinge,
Mhm.
your knees to squat down. We want to have good range of motion at our knees, hips, and shoulders,
Mhm.
and the strength to accompany that, right?
Yep.
Getting too bulky, not really going to be a thing. One of the other things is a lot, and I don't know if a lot of people really think this, because I think most people understand that doing more than they're doing is better than nothing. right? But one of the other myths is that you have to work out for hours a day to get in shape. Oh, I don't have the time. I don't have the time to spend hours in the gym. And that's just not true. In order to have, unless you're trying to maximize muscle growth and you are trying to get too big, I say too big, like if your goal is to continue getting bigger and bigger and more mass, then yeah, you might have to do more than the average person to maximize that. But for most people to be generally healthy and toned and have a physique that they're happy with, it doesn't take that much time.
Mm-hmm.
You can work out 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
3 times a week and get great results. If you did 30 minutes of strength training 3 times a week,
Yeah.
for the general, and you have a good diet, you know, you're eating relatively high protein and keeping your calories in order, you can build a pretty good, decent physique, one that's in better shape than 90% of the others your age, just by training 30 minutes 3 times a week.
Yeah. If the high intensity is high, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
that's the reason why maybe so many people are doing high reps, high sets, and everything like that, doing multiple exercises, is maybe because their intensity is not really there. If it was, then they wouldn't be able to do all that.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 30 minutes, if you really take advantage of that 30 minutes and
Mm-hmm.
you're progressing each week
Mhm.
with your weights or your reps, you're gonna be fine. Or getting better technique.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't take hours in the gym to
Yeah.
build something pretty impressive.
Mhm.
30 minutes, 3 times a week. If you approach it smart, you get a coach who can help you maximize your time.
Mhm.
You can do a lot with a little.
Yeah.
So don't think that you have to be in the gym 2, 3, 4 hours a day to build an impressive physique.
Yeah.
Because it's just not true.
Especially in the beginning, at least. you know.
Yeah, I know, especially as a beginner. I mean,
Yeah.
you can go several years and make great progress with 3 times a week, 30 minutes at a time.
Mhm.
It's certainly better than not doing anything.
Mhm.
And it's enough to where you'll notice some changes. You'll see some gains.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, even me, when we're training and we're training hard, I mean, 45 minutes, and I've pretty much got 90% of what I'm going to get out of that training session.
Yeah. You
Push
already
it
got
to
the
it.
pump. and
Yeah, I
you
know,
know,
exactly. Push it for an hour, mainly because I enjoy it.
Mhm.
But those last 15 minutes, if you're training for an hour, are not nearly as effective as you're going to get from your first 15 minutes, right? It's
Yeah.
not like there's a law of diminishing returns. It doesn't
Yeah.
just it's not more is better, just like anything else, right? There's a protein limit that we can use per day. More isn't always better. Performance enhancing drugs,
Yeah.
more isn't always better. If you have a headache, taking 30 aspirin isn't better than taking 2. Same thing with training, right? There's a law of diminishing returns. So
Yeah. Just stop watching Rich Piana, right?
yeah, I know. And yeah, I know there's marathon workouts. But even us, we train pretty much all my training sessions in the gym are 30-minute workouts. And I'm telling you, we get great results in 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
We can do a
100%.
lot.
I mean, sometimes the first exercise I do, I get everything, the pump, the exhaustion in the muscle. Almost feels like I can just stop after the first exercise.
Yeah, I think and really
Sometimes.
you could. I mean, realistically, if you did, say, 5 hard sets per week, maybe 6 hard sets per week, you do 3 hard sets per muscle group on Monday and 3 hard sets on Wednesday, or you do 2 Monday, 2 Wednesday, 2 Friday for the same body part, like 2 hard sets, 6 accumulated in the week, you can make great progress as long as you're bringing, like you said earlier, as long as you bring in that intensity.
Yeah.
Which intensity basically means, are we training close to failure, or sometimes, as if you're more advanced, trying to train all the way to failure. Not every set, but you definitely want to have some sets in there that you're taking all the way.
Mm-hmm. Or another good sign is after you finish that set, you shouldn't be able to come back to it and perform the same way within like 30 seconds of resting.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
That's a good indicator as well.
Yeah, if each set you're able to hit the same reps for the same weight for every set, then maybe your intensity needs to bump up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I would also say that consistency matters more than anything, and as long as over time we're increasing the demands on our body, I think you're going to still make great progress. As long as you're, especially granted that we're getting enough protein and we're sleeping properly, right?
Yeah.
Everyone meet Wednesday the cat. She does whatever she wants.
Yeah, she was in the first episode.
Yeah, she was. She'll make a guest appearance. I don't know if you remember. You probably don't remember the first Mortal Kombat game on Sega, but I grew up playing Sega Genesis, and in Mortal Kombat, there's a little guy. His head, the creator, his head would pop up in the middle of the screen. You go toasty, and he, every once in a while he'd pop up, and if you saw him and you hit the right button at the right time, it would take you to like unlock a character, and that's who this is. She's the creator of Mortal Kombat, just popping up, letting you know, here I am. All right, so number 4, carbs are bad for you.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh my God. The nutrition space online is probably the most toxic space on the internet. And I might be biased because most of my feed is fitness related stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of other toxic stuff online.
Yeah.
But according to Health and Fitness, if you listen to everyone on the internet, you wouldn't eat anything. You have the vegans saying that meat's going to kill you. You have the carnivores telling you that the vegetables are full of pesticides and all these other poisons. You got people saying, oh, fruit, that has sugar in it. You don't want sugar.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, dairy. Oh, dairy's bad. The dairy industry's evil. It's like, okay, well, then what the hell do I eat?
Next thing you just start eating air.
Yeah, I know. Then you're a breatharian and you think you can live on just air. So
yeah, and then some will say water is bad for you. You'll die.
No, yeah, you drink too much water, you can kill yourself. So don't watch out for the water.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what do we do with that? Mm-hmm. So no, carbs are not the enemy. They're not the devil. They're a great source of fuel. We could survive. Your body could potentially live without eating carbohydrates. You could eat meat and fats and live, but it's pretty proven in science that glucose is the quickest, fastest, best form of energy for performance. So if you're trying to maximize muscle growth or your performance, I would for sure suggest that you have some carbohydrates in there. But at the end of the day, it's a balance of energy. And if we have more energy going out, if we're spending more money from our bank account, we're going to get into a deficit of money. We're going to get, our account goes into a negative. That's when we're burning body fat. Mm-hmm. If we're saving a lot of money and we're not spending any, then we save money and our bank account gets bigger, and that's going to be stored body fat. Whether it comes from fat, carbs, protein, too much of all of those. If our body's burning 2,000 calories a day and we're eating 2,500, we're going to gain weight. Mm-hmm. If our body's burning 2,000 calories a day and we eat 1,500, we're going to lose weight. Mm-hmm. That's how it is, and it doesn't matter if you're eating carbs or if you're eating fat. It all works out in the end. It's the calories that come in versus the calories that go out. Now, you need healthy fats to survive and you need protein, but carbs are definitely a good source of fuel.
Mm-hmm. It's good for your brain as well. Your brain uses it for energy.
Very, very true.
So the brain fog and everything like that, that's because of that. You're not eating enough.
It's excess calories, regardless of the source, that's going to create the fat gain. All right, it's not the carbs. So I think one thing that feeds into this, though, is when you cut carbs, because glycogen stores 3 grams of water for every 1 gram of carb. Mm-hmm. Once you cut carbs, your body drops a lot of water. So if you quit eating carbs, you'll see the scale weight go down really quick.
Yeah,
but it's water you're losing, right? It's not a lot of fat, unless by cutting carbs you're cutting your total caloric intake. Well, then some fat is going to come off of that. But you could clean up some of the extra unneeded fats in your diet. You can clean up some extra carbs. You could do either one. You could do both. There's no set rule of cut carbs and I'm going to lose fat more, or cut fat, I'm going to lose fat more. We want to make sure that we're eating in a surplus if we want to gain weight, we're eating in a deficit if we want to lose weight, or if we like our body weight and we're happy with it, we're going to eat at maintenance, regardless of the source. Fruits have sugar in them. I've never heard of anyone being massively overweight because they ate too many apples.
Yeah.
That's never usually what I see. Someone who's really overweight, 300 pounds, I'm like, damn, that person must eat a lot of fruit.
Yeah. That's the first thing you think.
Yeah, the first thing I think, oh, damn, that person must really eat a lot of apples and bananas.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's, it's the highly palatable, tasty, processed foods that we overconsume. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why carbs get a bad rap, because people equate that to like highly processed, palatable foods, which when they taste good, they're tasty, they give us dopamine hits, it's easy to overconsume.
Yeah. That's why the keto diet is probably the most, or very popular.
It is very, now,
because they lose like 10 pounds when they first initially get on the diet.
Yeah, and a lot of that's water, right?
Exactly.
And hey, look, at the end, if cutting out carbohydrates and going keto is an easy way for you to maintain your weight or lose weight without tracking your food.
Or you got a wedding and maybe in a month or something like that.
Yeah, and you don't want to track your food, like, Yeah, and you can stick to it, then fine. I mean, I'm eat however you want to eat, but don't think that eliminating food groups, whole entire food groups or macronutrient sources, is the reason why you're losing weight. It's because you're eating less calories in general. It's not the carbs themselves, right?
Yeah.
So, one of the other things, so I'd say that the number 5, and I don't know if this is like one I get. Yeah, I guess I do get this one. According to ChatGPT, one of the 5th of the 5 was you must feel sore to know you got a good workout. And this is interesting debate because a lot of clients of mine who come back, they're like, "Oh, I wasn't sore. Did we not work hard enough?" I try to explain to them that just because you weren't sore doesn't mean you didn't have a good workout.
Yeah.
Now, soreness is definitely a good indicator that you're training hard enough, but just because you're not sore doesn't mean you're not training hard enough, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that at some level, when you have a novel movement or you push a little harder, you add a little more volume, having a little soreness or a little tightness is probably a good sign that you're training hard enough. So if you're sore relatively often at a light level, I would say that's probably a good sign that you're training hard enough. But if you're sore after every workout, I would probably say you're overreaching and training harder than you need, and your recovery is going to end up becoming an issue.
Yeah, because the fatigue will kind of build up over
Yeah, if you're
time.
getting that sore from every workout, and you're advanced, and you've been doing this for a year, and every time you're training, you're sore. Yeah, I don't know if that would be a good thing. It kind of goes back to more isn't always better. The more sore you are doesn't always mean the better, because now you might inhibit your ability to perform better at your next workout because you're still recovering.
Exactly.
Especially depending on how frequently you're training.
Mm-hmm.
The workout is definitely productive, and a great way to know if you're making progress is, did you do more reps for the same amount of weight? Did you do the same amount of reps with maybe more weight? Is your technique and your form getting better? All of those things are good indicators that you're making progress.
Yeah. Sets, reps.
Yeah, exactly. Now, soreness, again, if you're have some slight soreness, that is a sign that you're training hard enough, but it's not the only thing that determines whether you're going to make progress or not.
Yeah.
Really, what's more important than anything, and I preach this to everyone. I try to explain this to newcomers when they first come in. The most important thing is just being consistent. Show up and train consistently, and you are going to see progress. If you keep showing up and you show up consistently and you push with a relatively good amount of effort, where we're getting somewhat close to failure, like maybe 3, 4, 3, 2, 1 reps short of like complete technical failure, I think you're in a safe spot.
Yeah.
You're going to make good progress. So consistency over anything. Some days you're going to feel strong and push harder. Some days you're not. And you just show up and you keep the habit going. But either way, any workout is more effective than no workout.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, there's got to be benefit to coming in and just getting some blood flow, shuttling some nutrients to those muscles. Even if you're not tearing down and building back more, or overloading, you're still going to see there's still downstream benefits to just coming in and training.
Yeah, like body recomposition, right?
Yeah, and sometimes you just need to have an easy workout. Sometimes you need to take your foot off the gas and kind of ease on the brakes a little bit.
I mean, it's not only just muscle gaining for us; it's also kind of therapeutic in a way as well.
There's that too.
It's kind of get a separation for whatever you're doing on the daily basis.
Totally, the mental health part of it is huge.
Yeah.
So having the mental health release to be able to check out from stress and channel yourself into something, even if you're not always even if that one workout wasn't as hard as your last workout, it's still, all these things compound and they add up over time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and you're with like-minded people as well,
Yeah.
You guys are all with.
Totally. We could talk about totally. We could talk about the benefits of training outside of just physical changes like building muscle or losing fat. There's tons of them. But even in the context of just purely aesthetics only, like vain aesthetics, you're still much better off showing up and having a crappy workout than not showing up at all.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't get hard.
Better than nothing.
Yeah, and I would
Better than nothing.
Better than nothing. And it happens to all of us. Not every workout is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. Sometimes your sleep wasn't as good. Maybe your food, you missed a meal. Your nutrition wasn't as good. Maybe you've just been training hard for too many weeks in a row, and your body just needs to shift gears a little bit.
Maybe you're just naturally deloading that week.
Yeah. And your body's kind of making you deload or pump the brakes, so that way you don't end up with an injury or get hurt.
Yeah.
And maybe your central nervous system needs some recovery time.
Mm-hmm.
Be nice to your body. Be nice to yourself, and don't be too hard on yourself that if you didn't come in there and just crush this workout that it wasn't effective. I didn't get sore, so that workout was worthless. No, that workout was not worthless. That workout was very beneficial for mental health reasons, for body recomp reasons, for aesthetic reasons, for strength reasons, all of that stuff. So consistency, that's the key.
I would say though, if it keeps happening over time, like maybe 2 weeks, every single time you came in, you're not exactly performing at where you want to be, maybe it is time to maybe take a little bit of a rest. Like you said a little bit earlier, your body's kind of telling you to relax a little bit.
Totally.
Like we said, deloading.
Yeah, I think, and the more you train and the more you work out, the more you get in tune with your body.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you'll know, we all have days that aren't as good as other days. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you're going a week or two, and your motivation or your drive to really push in the gym is dwindling, then we might want to switch gears and just give yourself the grace to take a week off, or a week of just really light weightlifting. Maybe just focus on cardio and mobility for a week, and then get back to it.
Yeah, just do light weights, try to get a pump maybe. Nothing to where you're trying to beat your numbers or anything like that.
Totally, yeah. For me, I feel like it seems like 8 weeks I can go with training harder each week for about 8 weeks, and then I just need to take it out of fifth gear, shift to third,
hurting or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Joints start to ache a little bit. Maybe my motivation isn't quite as strong. Maybe I'm plateauing on some of my numbers.
Even maybe sleeping is not there as well. You're not feeling restful or anything like that.
Exactly. And my sleep isn't enough to recover me from the demands by that 8th week where I'm really driving my body into the ground. Yeah, maybe you got to shift into third gear for a week, and then you put it back in fourth, and then put it back in fifth.
Yeah, I would say that does take time though to get to this point where you're like, okay, maybe I should stop for a little bit. It feels like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to really know your body, maybe even after a year of working out.
True. Very true.
But still, though, like I said, 2 weeks or something like that, you're not seeing any improvement at all. Then
yeah, and if you're someone
or change your workouts even maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you're someone who's maybe the exercises you're doing you're just kind of getting bored with. You're not as excited about it. Maybe that's a good time to change your routine and select some new exercises if that helps you feel more motivated. Mm-hmm. But if you're training 30 minutes 3 times a week, I don't think you're going to run into this problem.
Yeah.
If you're training really hard 3 times a week, if you're eating enough protein and sleeping relatively well, you should be recovering enough from those sessions.
Yeah, for 30 minutes?
Yeah, if you're doing a 30-minute weight training Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I don't think this should be an issue. Mm-hmm. And if it is, over time, then maybe switch out the exercises, maybe pick another exercise that feels a little better on your joints, or something that just gets you mentally more excited about showing up to progress with.
Yeah, or maybe just talk to a personal trainer and see what they think. Maybe the exercises are too demanding on the body, like you said, with doing pull-ups and squats together.
Very good point.
Maybe that might be just a little, edit right there that you just need.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, because exercises like deadlifts and squats and
those, or if they're just doing it every day for those 3 days.
Oh yeah. That's gonna those are very taxing. They whoop you. They whoop you. Local fatigue gets high, and then over time your systemic fatigue or your central nervous system starts to burn out. And yeah, that's a good point. So maybe you got to take a week or two off the barbell squats and go do some single leg split squats, or maybe you just switch to the leg press for a week and keep it kind of light, and then go back to it.
Yeah. I mean, if it's for muscle building, all those other exercises are good. Squats, back squats is not the end all,
end all
for
be all.
Everything.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's a good point. I think if you're doing really heavy compound lifts like deadlifts, squats, and bench press, and you feel like over time the fatigue accumulation does build up, and you might take a week and just pick something else. Go to some light dumbbells. Give yourself something that you're not as strong with, and reduce the weight, reduce the reps, reduce the amount of sets you're doing, and then give yourself a week or two, and then go back to those lifts. And I think you'll be more excited about them. You'll be able to break through those plateaus.
Yeah. Or you can do one day where it's low reps. Other day could be high reps.
Totally.
You know,
Exactly.
You can even do that.
Yeah. The best thing to do is, you just said it a minute ago, is talk to a coach, talk to a personal trainer, someone who's been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
And they're going to be able to help guide you through then trying to figure this out on your own. And there's a lot of great information on the internet, but there's a lot of bad information on the internet too. And just like diet,
just don't know for sure.
Yes, exactly. So talk to a coach, talk to a trainer, someone who lives the life themselves, that has had success with other people, and pick their brain. That's probably the best route to go.
Or you see someone who's doing personal training, like an influencer or something like that on social media, who's also doing coaching, not just they're just promoting like cookie cutter workouts or something like that. Just
exactly.
Maybe that's a good sign. If you follow some people right now and you look at their knowledge, maybe just look if they are doing personal training, like one-on-one personal training, and if that might be a good sign that they do have good information.
Yeah, because the more that you work with people, the more you work with clients, the more data you get on how people respond, how they recover, even with yourself. I mean, doing it yourself gives you a lot of feedback too, training with other people. And so just consistency. Just keep showing up. Try different things. If you hear something on the internet, you want to give it a try, see if it works for you. If it doesn't, try something else. And over time, those little things you're trying are going to add up to a lot of consistency of showing up to the gym.
Yeah.
So it's all going to work out for you.
Yeah.
You know, just listen to your body. If you need a break, take a break. But you could get away in theory with just taking a week off the gym every so often. But I would suggest still going to the gym, just keeping it light, because maintaining that routine is huge.
Yeah.
Because if you start to take a week off here, a week off there, sometimes that gym time gets replaced with other things, and then before you know it, you're taking way too much time off the gym, and then it's not even a thing anymore.
Yeah. Or maybe after you do the first set and you're trying to push 100% on that first set and it just doesn't feel right, then maybe just take a lighter load and just do a little bit of light reps.
Yeah, and in the beginning, as a beginner, the first year or two, you probably shouldn't run into this, but as you build more muscle and you really start to load your body with more and more weight, taking more recovery time is definitely going to be needed. So those are the 5 things from ChatGPT. I would definitely end this with show up consistently. Find how many calories you personally should be eating. If you don't know how to do that, you can talk to a coach, talk to one of us in the comments. You can DM us. We can help you out there with some online coaching. We do meal plans, we do workouts, we do all online coaching and in person if you're in the Northern California area. But yeah, these are the top 5 biggest myths according to ChatGPT, and I think I agree with most of them. I think these are ones I get a lot that I have to work through.
I'd say so as well.
All right, you guys. See you next time.